Okay, so imagine this. You match with someone on a dating app, you talk for 2 weeks every single day, and then nothing. They just disappear. No message, no explanation, just gone.
Yeah, or even better, you go on 3 dates, everything seems great, and then you find out they were doing the exact same thing with four other people at the same time.
Welcome to dating in the modern world.
Welcome, everyone, to Let's Talk Real English, the podcast where we explore everyday topics in natural, real English. I'm Eric.
And I'm Lara. And today we are talking about something that pretty much everyone has an opinion on dating. Specifically, is dating easier or harder today than it used to be?
And this is a great topic for English learners because, dating is such a huge part of pop culture. TV shows, movies, social media. You're going to hear this vocabulary everywhere.
Exactly. And we're going to weave in some really useful vocabulary throughout the episode. So you'll learn the words in context, which is honestly the best way to remember them.
Right. So, Lara, I know you have, let's say, a more optimistic view of modern dating.
I do. I genuinely think there are so many good things about how we date today, and I'll defend that.
And I'm the skeptic. I mean, not about love, I believe in love, but I'm just realistic about the way technology has kind of complicated things.
Okay, so let's start with the good stuff, right? Because I think it's easy to focus on the negatives of modern dating. But honestly, it has made a lot of things so much more accessible.
Okay, sure, tell me.
So think about it. 30 years ago, if you wanted to meet someone, you had to rely on your social circle. Your friends, colleagues, maybe someone you met at a party. That's really limiting. You're only meeting people already close to your world.
That's true, yeah.
But now you can open an app and literally connect with thousands of people in your city or even in another country that you would never ever have met otherwise. That's kind of incredible when you think about it.
Yeah, the reach is definitely bigger. And for some people, like introverts, people in smaller towns, or those who work really long hours, dating apps are actually a lifeline. They might not have any other way to meet people.
Yes, exactly. And there's also this element of efficiency, I guess. Like, before you even go on a date, you can already get a sense of who this person is, what they look like, what they're into, what they're looking for.
Right, right.
And a big part of that early conversation on apps is what we call small talk. Light, casual conversation about easy topics like the weather or your weekend plans. It's not super deep, but it's really important because it's how two people test the waters and see if they actually enjoy talking to each other.
Small talk is so underrated, honestly. People think it's boring, but it's actually a skill. And for English learners, especially, being good at small talk in English is super useful. It's the first thing you do with someone new.
Totally. Small talk is like the doorway to a real conversation. You start light, and then if things click, you go deeper.
Okay, so I'll give you that one. Dating apps do make the initial connection easier. But here's where I start to have some issues, because I think apps have also introduced something called the paradox of choice.
Oh, okay. Say more.
The paradox of choice is the idea that when you have too many options, you actually become less satisfied with whatever you choose. Imagine a restaurant with only 5 things on the menu. You pick one, you're happy. But with 200 options, you spend forever deciding and still wonder if you made the right choice.
Okay, I kind of see where you're going with this.
Right? And I think dating apps work the same way. When you know there are thousands of potential matches just a swipe away, it becomes really hard to actually commit to one person. Because there's always this feeling of, what if someone better is out there?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really fair point, and I think that connects to a lot of the bad behavior we see in modern dating, like ghosting, for example.
Don't even get me started on ghosting.
So, ghosting is when someone you've been talking to or dating suddenly stops all contact with no explanation. They just vanish. One day, you're texting back and forth and everything seems fine, and then the next day, silence. It's like they just disappeared.
And the worst part is, you're left wondering, did I say something wrong? Did something happen to them? Are they okay? Like, it messes with your head.
It really does. And honestly, ghosting existed before apps, too. But apps have made it so much easier and more common. The lower stakes, you never met this person in real life, makes it feel less real to just disappear.
Exactly. There's less accountability. And then there's something even sneakier than ghosting: breadcrumbing. Have you heard that term?
Oh, yes, and it's so frustrating. So, breadcrumbing, like the fairy tale with Hansel and Gretel, right, where they leave little breadcrumbs on the path, breadcrumbing in dating means someone gives you just enough attention to keep you interested, but never enough to actually move things forward.
Right. So, like, they'll send you a message after 2 weeks of silence just saying, "Hey, how are you?" And you think, oh, they're interested, but then nothing again. They're basically keeping you on a hook without any real intention.
Yes, just enough breadcrumbs to keep you coming back. It's kind of manipulative, even if the person doesn't always mean it to be. And I think it connects to another big issue in modern dating, which is red flags.
Red flags. So, a red flag is basically a warning sign, something someone says or does that makes you think this person or situation might not be healthy. Like constantly canceling plans at the last minute. Red flag. Talking badly about every person they've ever dated, also a red flag.
Right. The term comes from actual red flags used as warning signals in sports or on the road. In dating, it just means watch out, something's not quite right here. One of the real skills in modern dating is learning to spot red flags early.
Yeah, which brings me to another thing that's become really common: kitten fishing, which is sort of related but a bit different.
Oh, kitten fishing. Okay, so everyone knows catfishing, right? Where someone completely pretends to be a different person online. Fake photos, fake name, the whole thing. Kitten fishing is like a smaller version of that. It's when someone presents themselves in a slightly misleading way, like using photos that are 5 years old or saying they're 6 feet when they're really 5'9".
Exactly. It's not a full lie, but it's not totally honest either. And when you meet them in real life, there's this moment of, wait, this isn't quite what I was expecting. And that disconnect is kind of a red flag in itself, right?
For sure. Like, if someone isn't honest about something as basic as their appearance, you have to wonder what else they might not be honest about.
Totally. And then there's this whole thing about commitment, or the lack of it, which leads us to maybe one of the most talked about terms in modern dating: situationship.
Pose situationships. So, a situationship is basically a relationship that isn't really a relationship. You spend a lot of time together, maybe you're even exclusive, but nobody has ever actually defined what you are. No label, no official commitment. It's just this ambiguous situation.
And I think situationships are one of the defining features of modern dating. There's so much ambiguity now. Are we just talking? Are we dating? Are we exclusive? People avoid these conversations because commitment feels scary when you know there are so many other options.
Yeah, and I think that's one area where modern dating is genuinely harder. The lack of clarity. Before, there were understood rules. You go on a date, then another, then you're together. Now, it's just so much more complicated.
Right. And I think that ambiguity creates a lot of emotional stress. People don't know where they stand, and that uncertainty can be really exhausting over time.
Okay, so I feel like we've been pretty balanced here, right? Like, even I, the optimist, have to admit that modern dating has some real challenges. But I do still think there's a lot that's genuinely good about it.
I think so too. Dating used to be way more restricted for a lot of people. There were social expectations about who you could date, where you could meet, what was acceptable, and apps have broken a lot of those barriers down.
Right, and people are a lot more clear about their intentions now. On most apps, you can say upfront, I'm looking for something serious or just something casual. That kind of transparency is actually really healthy.
That's true. Stating your intentions up front saves a lot of time and heartache. If you know from the start that you both want different things, you can make a much more informed decision.
Exactly. And I know people who have found genuinely amazing long term relationships through apps. So it does work, you know? It's not all ghosting and situationships.
Oh, you're right. I know people like that too. I think the tool itself isn't the problem. It's more about how people use it and the mindset they bring to it.
Yes, if you go in with clarity about what you want and you're honest and respectful with people, apps can be a genuinely great tool. The problem is when people treat others like options on a menu?
Right. When they stop seeing the other person as like a real human being with real feelings. And I think that's where the technology can actually work against us. It can make interactions feel disposable.
Yeah, disposable is the right word. Swipe left, swipe right, next. It's so fast that you can forget there's an actual person on the other end of the screen.
Okay, so before we wrap up, we have a question for you. Our closing discussion question for this episode, and we really encourage you to think about it, maybe even write your answer down in English for some extra practice.
Yes, and the question is this. Do you think dating apps have made it easier to find a serious relationship, or do they just make things more confusing?
Think about your own experiences or the experiences of people you know. Do you think the convenience of apps outweighs the challenges, or do you think real deep connection is actually harder to find now than it used to be?
There's no right or wrong answer, honestly. And that's kind of the beauty of this topic. It's genuinely complex. And I think your perspective on it probably depends a lot on your own personal experiences.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's just quickly recap the vocabulary we used today, because there were some really great words and phrases in this episode.
Yes, so we talked about small talk, that's light, casual conversation with someone you don't know very well yet. We talked about ghosting, when someone suddenly stops all communication with no explanation. And breadcrumbing, when someone gives you just enough attention to keep you interested, but never commits.
We also covered red flags, warning signs that something might not be right in a relationship or with a person. And finally, situationship, a romantic connection that feels like a relationship but has no clear definition or commitment.
All of those words and phrases are super common in everyday English conversation, especially if you're talking with friends about dating and relationships. So it's really worth knowing them.
Totally. All right, I think that's a wrap for today's episode of Let's Talk Real English. This was a really fun one, I have to say.
It really was. I love this topic. And even if modern dating is complicated, I still think love is out there for everyone. I'm sticking to my optimism.
And I respect that. Maybe just turn off your phone sometimes and actually look up from the screen.
That is actually solid advice, Eric. Okay, to our listeners, thank you so much for spending this time with us. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend who's learning English or someone who's deep in the dating trenches right now.
And remember, learning English is a journey, not a destination. Every episode you listen to, every word you pick up, every conversation you have, it all adds up. So keep going. You're doing great.
I'm Lara,
And I'm Eric.
and this has been Let's Talk Real English. See you next time.